Well, I got another book versus movie here. So, talking about Fahrenheit 451. Talk about the book first. So, Fahrenheit 451 is a novel. It's a dystopian novel written by, of course, Ray Bradbury. I believe this was written in 1953, and it's about a fireman. Only this is a fireman. They don't put out fires, they start them. They burn books, and they the main the protagonist of the story here is a guy or a man. It's gonna get confusing. Named Guy Montag. Now, Guy Montag is. I'm just gonna do the initial setup. He's out walking, having just gone on a raid or a fire, whatever you want to call it. He's burned a bunch of books. He's feeling very pleased with himself, and he's walking at night. He comes across a 17-year-old girl named Clarice, who kind of awakens something inside of him because she starts asking him questions, and she says silly things, like there was a time when firemen put out fires instead of starting them. And he goes home to his wife, and her name is Mildred, his wife Mildred. So he's married, okay? And everybody's supposed to be happy, but she's not. He sees she's surrounded by a bunch of pills, and he doesn't really think anything of it. Like he just, like the fact that she's trying to off herself doesn't really enter into his mind. So he calls, the people come, and they, pump her stomach, or what do they do? They transfer her blood or something. And this really starts to have an effect on his mind. And he's wondering, like, he starts to get awakened to questions about the world, right? Like, if everybody's happy, then what's going on with Mildred? His captain at the fire department is Captain Beatty, okay? And that's really the setup for it. There are some interesting things in the story, such as if you're thinking about when this was written, 53, there's like these seashell things that his wife puts in her ears, which sound very much like earbuds, right? They have wall screens all over their house. So yeah, it's interesting. But this book, it really has to deal with cancel culture. It's not so much that the government enforced censorship on people. It's that people self-censored and started destroying their own. This book offended this group of people. This book offended this group of people. So the only way to make everybody happy is you have to destroy these culturally significant works. So that's what this is about. And it's one of my favorite books. I've read this book I don't know how many times since I was a teenager. It had a very huge impact on the way that I see the world. And it's not a very long one, actually. It's 173 pages, this particular copy. And it's a good book. Now, I want to talk about the movie adaptation from HBO. I picked this up from my local library. It stars Michael B. Jordan as Guy Montag, our protagonist, and then Micheal Shannon here as Captain Beatty. We also have a woman named Sophia Batelli. She's right here on the back. She plays Clarice. As you can see, it's an adaptation, but I'm gonna say it's not a good one. It's a bad adaptation of the book. They changed so much that it's almost a completely different thing. They took all of what makes the book great, really, and just kind of tossed it to make a generic dystopian movie that's filled with every dystopian cliche that you've seen. So it's part 1984. They've got like this thing, which is, what is it called? Yuki? I can't remember. It's like Alexa. It's this thing that you talk to and it spies on you. So Big Brother is watching. This is like 1984. That wasn't really the concept of the original novel. It wasn't about a surveillance state. This is dealing with surveillance. Then these people in this are putting like drops in their eyes to like desensitize or you know medicate themselves, which really isn't part of the it isn't really part of this either so much. It's more like the movie Equilibrium with Christian Bale, which is a dystopian movie where they destroy cultural works as well. I think they were taking a drug called Prosium in that. Uh, that's an entertaining film. Equilibrium with Christian Bale. I think that movie's better than this, at least from an entertainment standpoint. It's got some camp in it, which makes it kind of fun to watch with the gun kata, the gun kung fu stuff. But we're not talking about this. Let's move on. But it's this movie. It also feels like it's trying to be Blade Runner because it's like this came out in 2018, and I think Blade Runner 2049 was 2017. So it's trying to like ape that look. So it doesn't really have its own unique flavor. And then they've done weird things. Michael B. Jordan's character, Guy Montag, he's not married in this. There's no Mildred in the story, so Mildred's eliminated. Then they age up Clarice, all right, to make her a love interest for Guy. And then, it's just, this is a hot mess. They introduced something about people that read books are classified as non-citizens. They call them eels, and then there's something to do with this DNA strand that they've injected into a bird. It's called Omnis, and I don't understand what exactly is going on with that, with him, with the resistance, so to speak, putting encrypted DNA into a bird. And what is that's none of that's in the novel. None of that is. So, as a movie adaptation, I have to give this a complete and utter 1-star failure. But I'm going to bump it up to 2 stars because, unfortunately, I feel bad for Michael B. Jordan and Micheal Shannon. Okay, because I think that they really do a great job acting. I don't have a problem with any of the actors in this movie. They're great actors. The script is garbage. It's a bad script. And it's not so much that the movie's bad. If I'd never read the novel, maybe I could enjoy this as like a 3-star movie, right? Like, it's not a terrible movie. It's just really mediocre. But as an adaptation of the book, and that's what I'm comparing it to, I have to drop it down. It's a terrible adaptation. So this is a case where the book clearly comes out on top and reigns supreme. It's not even close. The book wins in a landslide. So, if you've never read this novel, it's really short. Give it a read. It's a good one. It's one of my favorites. I love Ray Bradbury. I'm not going to go on anymore. That's it. I think I've said enough. So, book wins. All right. God bless. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.